It's really interesting that nothing changed except you got a text saying that you were adding value. It's not like you had recently released a new thing that was so much better than your old stuff. You just needed that external validation and almost that permission to go forth and have your real impact. And that really resonates with me. I find myself a lot of times asking for permission, even if it's not explicit. I'm like secretly putting ideas out there, waiting for someone to say, oh yeah, that's a good one. And then I'm like, yeah, I know it's a good idea. And then I do it. But you almost need that permission first. So that resonates a lot with me.
Yeah. And I love that point too. Thank you for highlighting that. And I knew something had changed for me at that moment when I committed to building this influence army to help heart-centered entrepreneurs increase their impact, their influence, and their income by going on what I like to call an influence tour, which starts by guest speaking on podcasts, right? And there's so many benefits to guest speaking on podcasts. There's like 7 main benefits and a hidden 8th. And really quick, there's the call to action. Obviously, you interview me at the end. Like now you're going to say, well, people are interested. Where can they find you? And I'm going to say, go to guestingguide.com and they can, get my thing on how to execute a profitable podcast tour, right? And I'm about to do a master class, a podcast guest speaking master class. So anybody could go to influencetour.com/go and register for this master class. But so you got the call to action. You've got the host. Great chance you'll recommend me to somebody. You're going to go, oh my gosh, Misha, you're a great dude. I know somebody who needs to go on an influence tour. You'll introduce them to me. You might want to go on an influence tour. Then we've also got partnership opportunities where we can leverage each other's email lists. These are the benefits of going on a podcast tour. I'm hijacking the conversation. Thank you. And then we've got repurposing the content, building your brand. The reality is, if you commit to guest speaking on podcasts, what I like to say is, how would your life change and your business change if you guest spoke on 50 podcasts in 100 days? Like, you would be a different person at the end of that. Even if you only hit 20, even if you only hit 10, if you committed and went for it, you're going to have a transformation. Your business is going to have a transformation. Anyway, totally got sidetracked. But what was the question?
Yeah, that was it. That was perfect. It's what are you up to? How are you helping people today?
Yeah.
And I love what you've created because everyone wants to speak on a podcast, or a lot of people want to speak on a podcast.
Yeah.
They want to sit down, fancy microphone, everything's all set up. They talk, they leave, they mic drop, but they don't want to reach out to people to be on podcasts. They don't want to create the templates. They don't want to do all of the stuff behind the scenes. So the fact that you've systematized that, created these processes, scripted it, it's easy. And then the second piece is, I love how you ask the question, what would be possible for your life, for your business, if you committed to this for 100 days? 50 podcasts, maybe you don't even get to 50, but there's so much power. Anyone who's listening to this will know that I love this. There's so much power in saying yes, saying that I'm going to do this thing. It's going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, probably sweat through a few shirts while I'm on the podcast tour, but your life will change. You'll meet the right people. Unexpected things will start happening. And there's so much beauty in just creating that commitment and saying yes.
Yeah, it's so good. And, I've had people come through my influence army and who are in it who, I had this issue when I had that imposter syndrome. People were asking me to speak on their show and I wouldn't reply because I was like, I don't know what to say, right? And now I've got my story bank, get your stories together framework so you can tell the right stories at the right time and inspire the audience to action, right? Point is, I've had people come through who were like, I know I want to speak on podcasts, but like they'll say they want to, but they won't because they don't know what to say, when to say it, right? For example, to watch the transformations, Whitney's one, Rick, he crushes it now. He takes all the skills he learned from the influence army and now he uses it in networking, right? It's helped him in all those facets of his life.